So here is the desk that I'm going to be putting in my office. It was definitely a little heavy to carry this box on my own, but now that it's in here, let's get it open and I'll show you how to put it together and then we'll put it to use. You can see it comes with lots of protective packaging. Let's get rid of all that stuff. So we got a ton of parts here, and it comes with this instruction manual here, but I'm going to walk you through step by step and show you exactly how to put it together. And they actually show us two different ways to put it together here. You could put these little shelves on the right. In my installation, I'm going to put them on the left. First things first, make sure you run through the parts list here and make sure that you have everything that they have listed. Thankfully, everything comes with these little stickers on it that have the numbers of the parts so you can easily keep track of them. Okay, to start out, we need the legs of the table, 7 and 8, 9 and 10. And we're gonna take these foot pieces here from bag H, all 8 of them, and screw them onto the bottom of the legs. Just like that, nice and flush against it. Let's do that for all 8. Once we have all of those feet on like that, then we move on to bag A and take 4 of these bolts. And we're gonna pair legs 9 and 10 here with these 2 pieces, numbers 15 and 16. Let's start by connecting number 16. And you'll see that on one side it has 1, 2, 3 of these holes. Those should be facing downwards, which on the top that will leave this hole right here facing upwards. And then you'll see that on legs 9 and 10 they have a lot of different holes on each side. You're going to want to find this hole right here, and it's going to go towards the inside of the table where the bar will be connecting them. And just for a little better reference, you'll see 1, 2, and that third hole right there that I was talking about. And on the other side you'll see simply 1, 2 holes, and that's excluding this corner hole here that we will actually place the bolt through to connect that bar. So again, we find this hole right here, and then we go above it up to this hole, and that's where we insert the bolt. And then we take bar 16 here, put it on the end like this, and you can simply just screw it on. And we don't have to tighten it all the way with the Allen wrench yet. We're going to do that at the end when we tighten up all the bolts, but for right now it's on there just enough to keep it together, not super tight. Now we can go to number 9 here, go above this hole to find this one, stick the bolt through, and screw that in to the other side of our crossbar here. So now we should have it set up looking something like this. And now we're going to take number 15 and install it in this area here. And on number 15, you'll see that there's a hole right in the middle of the bar here, and then there's a hole right here that kind of has a short side to it over here and a long side to it over here. And we're going to want the middle hole to be oriented vertically and the short side to screw in to leg number 9. I'll do that by inserting the bolt into the hole just like before, making contact with the crossbar, and then screwing it in by hand. And then I'll come over to number 10 over here and do the same thing. And now we should have a piece looking like that. For the next step, we need bag E, and we'll remove 8 of those screws. And we'll find that we have 2 boards labeled 3. They look like this. And we're going to find these holes on the corners here and align them with these holes on the inside of 9 and 10 here. We're going to take our bolts and insert them through the outside of the legs here. For this step, I've found that we do need to grab the Allen wrenches from bag L. See that one of them's a little bit thicker than the other one, and we want the thinner one to help with the screws here. So we'll take the screw, insert it through the leg, line it up with the hole here, and get it started with our fingers, but it's not gonna go very far with just finger power. That's where the little Allen wrench comes into play. I'm just going to tighten it very gently, making sure that the screw is going in the right way until we have contact here, again, not too tight. Now we're gonna do the same thing on this side. And actually what I found on mine is it looked like there wasn't a hole there, but actually it had been pre-drilled. It's just that the metal that was guarding the hole was still there. So I just took the end of my little Allen wrench here and pushed it through to make sure that the screw could make it through. Not a huge problem, and now we add the screw in, put it through that hole there, line it up with the board again, start it by hand, and then move to the Allen wrench, tightening it up gently, right up until you have contact, not too tight again. And then we just do the same thing on the other side here. After that, it should be looking a little like this. And then we'll find the holes in the middle of legs 9 and 10 again, roughly right here. Insert our first screw, and we'll do the same thing with the second board, number 3 here, that we just did with the first one on the bottom. And I'm actually going to lay it on its side like this to make it easier for me to install it. Now for this side, you actually need to line up the holes first and then put in the screw. And I'm just going to insert this one part of the way so that I can move to the other side and make sure they're all aligned. I'm making sure that they're aligned here first, roughly speaking. Insert in the screw until we make contact with the wood and screw it in by hand part way and just tighten it up a little bit, and it's going to give us a little bit of room and a little bit of leeway to make sure we have these ones lined up later on. I'm just leaving it protruding a little bit like that for now. That way this one up here, I can make sure it gets aligned properly. Again, just tightening it up part way so I can go to the other side and align this last one here. Starting by hand and then tightening up. And this one now, I'm going to go until there's contact all the way, not super tight, just making sure it's there since they're all in place. And then I'll go and tighten up the rest of them until there's contact. Now I'm just making sure that all these screws are nice and aligned up and screwing them in until there's contact. There we go. Now at this point, it should be looking a little bit like this with both shelves attached. Now we need to grab parts 13 and 14. They look like this, as well as number 7, which looks like this. We go back to bag A and grab 3 screws and go to bag C. And actually mine didn't come with a sticker, but by process of elimination, I discovered this was bag C. Grab those 2 screws. Now to align this properly, we take number 7 and we find this piece right here, and we're gonna have it on the outside away from this piece over here. And then we're going to align it like this, with the back piece being number 10 and the front piece up here being number 9. And we're going to start by taking our 2 letter C screws, our small ones, and putting them through these 2 holes on number 13, like so and so. And then those will screw into these 2 holes on number 10. There's 1 and 2. Now they should be attached like that. Again, not too tight because we'll tighten them all up at the end. And then we'll take one of our big screws, line up the other end of 13 with the corner of number 7 and screw that into place. Now we'll take number 14 and find these holes here and make sure they're aligned vertically, while we'll use a big screw to screw it into number 7 at the top corner here, and take another screw, put it through number 15 here, and screw it into that crossbar again. I'm going to tighten these up just a little bit to keep that crossbar from spinning. Not super tight. Now we should have something that looks roughly like that. Now we'll take number 8, find this metal piece here and make sure it's pointing inwards towards number 7, like so. And we're going to attach those 2 pieces with board number 4 and 4 screws from bag letter E. And I'll start by inserting that screw through number 7 and screwing it into this hole on board 4. Just start with your fingers and then tighten with the smaller Allen wrench. Again, I'm leaving a little room here until I have all 4 of these screws connected. Now this screw will go through the back side of that hole on number 7 and into the hole on number 4. And I'm going to tighten it about halfway. And now we'll do that same process for number 8. Line it up with that hole on number 4 and tighten it part way. And come to the front and do the same thing right here. Start by tightening with your fingers just a little bit. And now I'm going to tighten up all 4 of these screws until there's actual contact here. Contact. Tighten up this one back here until contact. Same thing here until contact, not too tight. And finally this one right here. Now for the next step, we collect board number 5, one of the number 11s, number 12, and number 17 here. We also need 2 screws from bag A. We'll open up bag B and take 5 of those screws. So starting with board number 5, showing these pieces facing up right here, we'll take number 12 and we'll put these pieces to the outside. We take screw B and we put it through this hole right here. So it should look like that. And then we're going to screw it into this piece on board 5. Just start that one with your fingers. Same thing over here. Screw B into this hole. Now in this step, we do want to tighten these up as much as we can. Those both feel nice and tight. Now for the other side, we'll use number 11 with 2 more screws from bag B and drive them down into the same holes as we did on the other side. You can start them with your fingers and tighten them with the larger Allen wrench. Now that one feels nice and tight as well. Next step, we take number 17, find that middle hole here, and we'll drill it down into the middle of number 5 here, using a screw from bag B. You can start with your fingers and tighten up. Now we'll take a screw from bag A and insert one into this hole here and the other into this hole here. And you can start with your fingers and then tighten up as much as possible. Okay, once that's tight, we just do it for the other side as well. And now we should have a nice stable piece looking like that with all the screws tightened up on that one. And now with that one laying upside down like that, we'll take 4 screws from bag B and find board number 1 and look for these holes right here. There should be 4 of them. You notice you can see the wood and they kind of dip down into the board a little bit. We're going to take our screws and drop them in place and screw them into their respective posts on this piece that we just made. Drop it in and start with our fingers there. I'm going to come over to the other corner here and do this one as well. Now I'll do this one here as well as its counterpart on the other side. And then we take our larger Allen wrench and we're going to tighten up all 4 of these as much as we can. Now we should have a piece that's nice and sturdy and looks like this. Now we need board number 2 here. Our 2 screws from bag F, they look like this, and this piece right here. And we're going to take our screws and put them through these holes right here and right here. And now with board number 2 here, we want the side with all these holes like this facing downwards. We feed the cord through that hole there and drop this into place. And then we'll tighten up our screws. And we can do that with our larger Allen wrench that has a Phillips screwdriver on the end here. I'm going to make sure that they're both nicely in place before tightening them up. And once I see I have a good start on both of them, now I'll tighten them up all the way. And that actually took quite a bit of hand strength to get them both down in there, so I actually finished them off with my own personal screwdriver. Now we need piece number 6, the second number piece 11, and 2 bolts from bag letter B. And then we'll pick one side of this, doesn't really matter which side, and drive bolts B through this hole here down into this one here. And then do the same thing for this side. And tighten both those bolts up all the way. And we'll end up with a piece that looks like this. Now we'll grab 2 more bolts from bag B, this piece here that we've already assembled, and we'll take our bolts and drive them through this hole here and this hole here. Notice that they're opposite of the USB port here. They're going to drive upwards through these ones here. Or another way to put it would be downwards through these 2 here. And we'll drive them into the posts of this piece we just assembled. I'll just start that one by hand. Same thing over here, just start it by hand. And then we want to tighten both of these ones up all the way. There you go, and now we should have a piece looking something like this. Okay, and now we take this larger board that we've put together with board number 1 here, the big one, and we simply just set it down on top here, roughly lining up these 2 edges over here. And then we open up bag J and take both wooden pegs and insert them into the slots here and here. Might take a little effort to make sure they're pushed in all the way. They should be left sticking out about an inch or so, it looks like. Now we'll take this piece here that has the plugs on it, and we'll align it so these bars are going to be on the outside. And we'll set that down right here. And we'll have it aligned roughly even with this. Then we're going to connect these 2 pieces by sliding this into these wooden pegs here. As you can see, there's a hole there. Now you can see they're pretty much flush there. Now we're going to take 14 bolts from bag B, and we'll insert them along the underside of the table in the holes like this one here. This one here, this one here, this one here, this one here, that one there. And just to give you a point of reference on the table here, I just did these 2 bolts right here, and previously I did the ones that are underneath this side and this bar right here. And now I'll come over to this side right here, and then we'll work our way around the back. Starting with this one in the middle, and these 2 in the back here. This one here, this one right here, one on the inside of the L right here. And honestly, I'm at a bit of a loss now because if you can see from the directions right here, it looks like 2 screws are going to be going into the front of the table here. That would be that one there and that one there right in the middle. When I look at these slots right here, I don't see any entry gland on the other side of them, neither there, but I don't see one there either. I'm not really sure where to go from here. However, it feels pretty sturdy, so I'm just gonna skip those last 2 bolts for now and see how it turns out and see if maybe I can figure it out at the end. Now I'm going to take out our little drawer here and expand it open. We'll take this piece here and insert it into the drawer to give it a nice flat bottom there. I did it with this little tab facing up in case you ever want to remove it. You can just pull on it. And we're going to install the handle from bag G. By taking the washers and the nuts from them, you'll get 2 of each of these. And putting the washer over top of the nut like that. We'll do that twice. And driving them through these inside holes right here so the threads will be facing out. And we'll attach that side of the handle and we'll put the other one through. Line up the other side of the handle, screw that in place. I hand it first and then tightening it up with the screwdriver. Now we just slide that drawer into place right there. Now we'll grab bag D and prepare 8 of those bolts along with bag 18 and grab 4 of these brackets. And we'll install our first corner bracket right here and up to here. And then we'll come over here and we'll install the other corner bracket here. Now we'll come around the back side of the table and install a corner bracket here, as well as one right here. Now at this point, the table's pretty much all together. We just need to still install the lights. But at this point, I'm gonna go through and tighten up all of those bolts that we didn't completely tighten before. And it's really easy to go through and tighten these all up. However, I'd just like to point out to be careful on these ones that have these seams right here, because it'd be really easy to over tighten on these and start to separate those seams as you bend the aluminum in. So just tighten them up until they're nice and flush against it. Don't keep pushing and damaging your ends here. And so now we have our table looking like that. We can start to install our lights. Now we take our bag K here and we'll unroll K1. And that will be our strip of lights. We'll call the remote control here K2, and the piece with the USB-C plug, that will be K3. And then we'll plug K3 into K1 by aligning this red arrow here, not in this direction because the arrows don't match, but in this direction, so that arrow points towards that arrow. Then we'll take the side with the power cable and put it over here where we can plug it in. And we're going to align our lights here up and along the inside of this metal bar here. And we're going to have it stick all the way through here, up through here, and then up over here. So we're going to want to peel off this red backing here to remove the adhesive back of it. I'm not going to peel it all off at once. I'm going to peel it off as I'm sticking it to the table. Now, because this cable's quite long, I think I'm just going to wrap it around this post right here, just to keep it a little organized. Then I'm going to take that twist tie from earlier and just wrap it around this, tie it up, just to make sure it roughly stays in place there. And once we have the whole thing plugged into the power source, you see I can change the colors here from red to green to blue, yellow. There's another blue and then a purple color there. There's also some different modes here. We'll just go into flashing mode if I want. You can change the speed of that flash by hitting one button. You can up the speed of it and down the speed of it, of course, so it just goes a little bit slower for you. And there's also a mode here where it flashes from off to a different color every time, as well as a gradient mode here where it doesn't necessarily flash and it more just like blends back and forth. Yep, and you can change the color on that one as well, so it just gradients back and forth between the same color. And here you can make it just gradient back and forth between different colors as well. In this mode here, you can see it kind of just changes over time from color to color. I think that one's my favorite so far. And then there's a quick flash mode like this as well. Now we'll do that for each color. And then we switch back into the gradient mode. There's also a mode here that just flashes back and forth from color to color. I think I prefer to just keep it on one color for now. Let's turn it to blue. And it looks like that's as bright as it gets. But you can turn it down as well, make it darker, and then you can just turn it off with a simple touch of a button. So there you go, there's the completed desk. It was fairly easy to put together, except for those two bolts that I couldn't figure out down here, but it didn't really matter because as you can see, it's still super sturdy and I don't think it really needed them. The drawer works really well. Having those cool lights is really nice, plus the 4 outlets here in the back, and it's proving itself to be sturdy and solid so far. Overall, pretty happy with this purchase. So, and the last thing we can do is cover up these little slots right here, the holes we didn't use, with these little stickers that come in bag M. You just put them over top of the hole like that, stick them down, and it's just a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And you can do that for this one here. There's another one back there, if you can see it, over there. And there's one here and here, and on the other side as well, but that's touching my wall, so I'm not worried about it. And there you go. I've got those covers on there, and I think it looks a lot better. So there we go. There's the desk, finally completed.